Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Just Enough to Suffer. My name is Lou. I am joined, as always, by my friend Greg and my friend Jay. We are here to discuss the New York Jets coming off of a devastating loss to the New England Patriots. We're going to have, we've been joking about having a marathon 3-hour podcast talking about the quarterback, but we should also talk about how devastating of a loss it is to lose on a punt return touchdown in the last play of the game. Doesn't get much worse than that. I think that's kind of been lost in how ridiculous everything has been. But, Greg, I know you don't have that much to say apparently, so why don't we start with you, your thoughts on Sunday's game?
I'm fine. I need to kick it to both of you for this. I feel like I'm just delaying the inevitable here, so I'm going to kick it to Jay. I'll let him start out.
Oh, we also have clips for the first time. I'm pumped. Go ahead.
I'm so ready. Okay, so Dennis Green said it best, man. They are who we thought they were. Zach is who I thought he was. I tried to bring it up last week. If I basically called it on the nose. I did say they would win 27-3 or something like that. But I said if Belichick really has his number, and if he sucks in the first half, can we bench him? I still remain that they should have benched him. He is garbage. He's a terrible quarterback. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. And I'm over it. I'm over Zach. But with that said, the defense is so – first of all, has there ever been a game that has, made the name of this podcast any more legit than that? It gave us Just Enough to Suffer. The defense was dominant. It was unbelievable. It was heroic. Every time they had to make a play, they made a play. 4th down, 3rd down, whatever. And just kept sticking Zach back out there. And he just kept saying, all we need to do is get a field goal. We'll probably win this game. In the 4th quarter, all we needed was some points. And then, the 3rd down play call really irked me. I guess maybe not the play call so much as the execution, because apparently Eli Moore was wide open in the middle of the field. And he looked right at him, just didn't want to throw him the ball. But, then we punt the ball in bounds. Come on. If we punt the ball out of bounds or take a knee and we go to overtime, why are we giving them a free chance at returning it? I guess, in theory, they could have fumbled or something, could have worked out to our advantage, but that never happens to us. Do the smart thing and kick it. We saw the Giants. Deshaun Jackson did that on the Giants 10, 15 years ago, if you remember that. Walk-off punt return for a touchdown. And every coach in the planet should have watched that and said, you know what, if I get down in that situation, I'm never going to allow my team to lose like that. But that sucked. That was brutal. My dad and I looked at each other as he was breaking that, and you knew he was gone. And we were like, you got to be fucking kidding me. That's how we're going to lose this game?
Yeah.
We would have won anyway. Zach wasn't getting them down the field in overtime. Realistically, you would think that game was either going to be a tie or they were going to, New England was going to eventually hit one of those field goals. But we weren't going to win that game with the way Zach was playing.
Yeah, I think on the punt, I haven't really seen an explanation yet. Maybe I just missed it in, the aftermath of the game. But it seems like it was just a mistake and they didn't communicate with him that he needed to punt it out of bounds. I think they were really worried about the wind. Seems like that was a primary excuse across the board this week. So for one team, it was an excuse. It's weird how that happens. How when you play bad, you blame the wind, but if you play good, you don't blame the wind. It's weird. The punt was tough. The coverage was tough. But let's get down to the business here. I think where we are now, the immediate aftermath of the game, the Garrett thing, I would like to dissect it one by one. They're coming off the field, and Garrett is obviously visibly upset. He was visibly upset during the game multiple times, missed passes, whatever. He's jumping around doing what he does. They get into the locker room. They're speaking to the media, and Garrett essentially unloads on Zach and the coaches. Doesn't name anybody by name, but he pretty much directly says that Jay is cooking chicken meatballs, so he will be on the side as well throughout this pod. But he essentially unloads on the coaches. He catches himself as he starts, and then gets back to it again because the media kept asking questions. So what did you think about that, Greg? I think you can be of two minds on it. I kind of come down on he was telling the truth, so it's hard to get upset. But this is kind of the same thing that we got mad at Elijah Moore for 6 weeks ago, but Garrett just did it at a time when the fan base was hurting, so it wasn't received as negatively.
I mean, I was fine with it. I think, Saleh wants that open door policy. And yeah, like this isn't like a one-off thing, right? This has been happening all season long. Garrett, the receivers have all been pissed, during games. The way Elijah handled it, obviously you don't want to get to that point where you're requesting a trade. But I mean, when
you can argue that Elijah did it better than Garrett did.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
You don't think publicly going out to the media and attacking the coaches and the quarterback?
I'm fine. I'd rather him do that than publicly demand a trade 16 games into his career. When you haven't gotten the ball after a win against Green Bay in Green Bay, and your team is 4-2 at that point.
I think you're looking at a little bit of a vacuum. I'm sure there was conversations beforehand that were happening privately. It wasn't the first time he said something or whatever, but I know what you're saying. Keep going.
Yeah, I mean, there's really it wasn't anything like you said. He didn't call anyone out by name. He just said this shit's sorry. Like this is frustrating. He didn't call anyone out. You could obviously connect the dots and know exactly who he's talking about, but that's just a kind of guy that Garrett is, right? Like he's a fiery type of guy. It worked for the D-line when they got up in that coach's face, right? Like when Quinn got in his face and they said, please stop fucking blitzing. Let us do our jobs. And it's been sweet sailing for that front ever since. So I had no problem with that type of stuff because if you're gonna have an open door policy, with Saleh, I just don't see how a guy coming off a game like that, and just saying this is fucking ridiculous. It's our defense gave up essentially our Davis gave up 3 points and our offense couldn't do jack shit.
Guys,
I'd be frustrated too.
This has clearly been festering for a while though. No, I mean, if you read the tea leaves, Eli asks for a trade.
Denzel asked for a trade.
Mims asked for a trade. Freaking Garrett Wilson goes crazy. Sauce and JFM both liked tweets that he,
accidentally leave him alone.
Both accidentally liked tweets at the same time.
They got big fingers. Shit happens.
Yep. I mean, end of the day, you can't be that bad. And then and if you're a coach and you have a quarterback that's playing that bad and your team is playing that well and there's such a discrepancy, you can put a bad quarterback in the interest of growing and everything if the team is at a different stage, but this team's ready to win. The defense is good enough to win the division. And he's so bad at this point that you almost risk if you're Saleh losing the locker room if you continue to march this guy out there, dude. I know you say no, Greg, but
if he said nothing, Greg, it would have been a huge problem. You know it, and I know it.
They're not losing the locker.
Now they're not because they addressed it. If they didn't address it, it would have been a serious problem.
Oh, well, yeah, but they're not.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do something.
Zach out there.
Otherwise, you're telling your team that it's more important to develop one guy than to win games, and that's a tough thing to tell veteran guys or a guy like Quinnen Williams who's been around through shit year after shit year, and now the team is finally good. It's just, to me, that sends the wrong message. I'm done babying Zach, man. You got to show something. Every good quarterback showed something in their first 2 years better than what he's been showing, period. And he has plenty of weapons to get the job done. Maybe he didn't last year with Crowder and those guys, but he has plenty of weapons to go out there and look better than that. He's got better weapons than Mac Jones did, playing the same win that Mac Jones did. Why can't he that pass that he threw Conklin and overthrew him and should have been a pick? That was one of the worst passes I've ever seen in my life. And there were 10 of those missing screen passes and wide receiver screens. And he's not a professional right now. So maybe he's better off sitting on the bench and watching and learning again and working on his footwork and stuff like that. Because you can't just throw that guy out there and have him play at that level. It's just, it's unacceptable. It can't,
So with that in mind, I think we should look at some of the plays with Greg. Greg, we would break these down a little bit and we could react to them in real time because the conversation post game has now developed. We don't have to get into. We can get into the conversation, like the comments Zach made after the game.
No,
I think it's been
there's-
rehashed a million
There's no
times.
need.
It is what it is. I'm more interested in what's been happening after the fact yesterday and Sunday after the game with the media members and which side they chose. And, you have a guy like Sims who's like actively defending him. You have a guy like Richard Sherman who's telling the truth. And those people all have connections of their own and they have their sides that they're playing. So, Chris Sims, had the 25 tweet thread or whatever where he's breaking down the plays. I would like to talk to those as well and just see how tough it actually is, because another thing we talked about last night, Greg, was the MLF portion of the whole situation. I think maybe it's hard to break it down in a way that doesn't get emotional, because I think there's so much ridiculous shit going on right now with this team. And people are like ready to get rid of Zach. They're ready to bring in Mike White or Flacco or whoever else. They're ready to bring in a veteran next year. They want to change the coaches. I don't think it goes that far, but I think part of what we're going to look at here today, it definitely doesn't go that far. Part of what we're going to look at here today is keeping in mind what Judon said after the game about how the routes are pretty limited. Keeping in mind what Garrett said about how it's a wake-up call to the coaches in the facility. You're looking, like, based on your reaction right there, are you saying Garrett was not telling the truth? Because he either was telling the truth or he wasn't.
I'm talking more about Judon. That's more an indictment on the QB than it is on the
what he said about the route trees. What's that got to do with the quarterback? He said the routes are basic.
Because the main thing that he said was that when there's pressure, Zach's eyes come down.
And he
That's
also, I
a
understand.
major problem.
I completely
That's a bigger
understand.
problem. That's a bigger problem than routes. The route trees and the complexity of route trees are really not that big of a deal. If guys can win routes, they can win routes.
You don't think that speaks? You don't think that speaks to
I'll show you. In some of the clips, you'll see Zach come off of his reads very, very quickly when guys are wide open.
Great.
That's more of the problem.
Got it. Let's do it. I want to see it.
Let's see.
I'll be back in a second.
Yep, that's fine. The part I wanted to bring up with that was just like, if we're going to say that they've been too safe, they've been too coddly with Zach, they protected Zach too much. Garrett has valid concerns. Elijah has valid concerns. Mims had valid concerns, which is now I'm now saying. Obviously, the other parts of it with the other two guys is different, but those guys all had valid concerns. There's one guy running the direction of the offense. His name's Michael.
Guys are getting open.
I understand that, but guys are getting open. It's Mike's job to run the offense. If there's going to be guys not open and blah, 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 that's all part of it. But Mike deserves some criticism and scrutiny, at least, based on how it's gone so far. Doesn't need to lose his job. Doesn't need to be losing the play calls.
Asked for his job.
Well, that was your boy, so I get it.
Lunacy. That is unbelievable.
I completely agree. I think the question has to be asked when Saleh opens it as like we're going to look at everything. Like, it's a fair question, I guess. But I'm glad it was quickly shut down. Let's get into the plays.
Let's do it. All right, so this is the first one. This is in the first quarter. This is I believe a third. I got to pull these up. Yeah, so first quarter, 8 minutes left. It's a 3rd and 7. You'll see here, incomplete pass short to Elijah. So on this, you'll see the end zone angle as well. And I just want you to look at Zach on this. So to me, it looks like a 3-step drop.
1, 2, 3.
There's a guy, right? So there's pressure coming into his face right now. And watch when he throws it. It's flat-footed. There's no drive on it. In a windy day like that, you have to put more on the ball. And let's see here.
Is that also rushed too? He looks very rushed.
I mean, there's space where you could, take a step and fire it in there, right? Like the windows in the NFL are so much smaller than they are in college. And that's something that I'm routinely have to tell myself, is that you have to look at it from an NFL player standpoint as opposed to what we think is a normal window of opportunity.
Expand on that a little bit.
So, like, I do see a lot and listen, I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not one of the fucking X's and all 22 guys. But when you look at stuff, I think, we see all these crazy clips and we see all these crazy throws and, obviously people play a lot of Madden, and you have to realize that like I think one of the best plays I can remember was it was a Barrios play where he was on the sideline and there was maybe like 4 yards of room between him and the sideline when he catches it, and he plants and he cuts upfield.
Mm-hmm.
That is very, very tough for a normal human to do. And you have it kind of makes you think like, okay, these guys can do so much more. It was so much faster. Less. yeah, it was so much less than like the average human can do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard to. That's why I tell people like go watch a game in person, and then you see just how
speed and
fast,
everything.
how physical, like how there's so little room for shit to happen. And guys, it's either you hit it or you don't.
Yep.
And when
and that's why the
plays
fundamentals are so important, and you have to be able to get in and out of your drops as a quarterback. And like if you're rushed, like tell me if I'm wrong here. Like I really like when I watch it. Can you run it back the first time? Because when I'm watching it the first time, it looks like he's getting ready to throw before he's even finished with his drop, which is why he's not stepping into throws. Like, boom, it's already going.
Well, so the hitch is there, right? So when he stops back, boom. That idea, like, you know, maybe this is a bad route combo, but at the top of his drop, like, that's fine. But you can see there's a little bit of space there where if you either got to put more on that, I refuse to believe that the wind is that big of a factor.
It wasn't a factor. I'm not doing the wind because we're gonna do the fucking plays and all that stuff. The wind thing drives me crazy.
No,
I refuse to accept that as an answer. Keep going.
So yeah, I mean this one was just short hopped. It's really frustrating when you have a guy open like that, and you know I think it's a pretty well run route, and then the QB just doesn't get it there. Let's see. We shall pull up another one.
And so on that play, your takeaway is what? That number one, he's not stepping up.
It's just a bad. It's just a bad throw. It's just there's got to be more on that. I get that there's wind, but if you have, you know, if we're talking about arm talent with Zach, that's kind of a throw that can't.
He has to be able to make. Yeah, like if he's not going to do the fundamentals, he's got to be able to deliver that throw off schedule, whatever the hell they call it.
Here's this one. Probably the worst play of the game from Zach.
This is the touchdown, yeah.
So Mims gets open.
He's got all day.
All day. He's staring at him. You'll see it from the end zone angle. You'll see. And you see here there's a miscommunication between Duggar here and McCourty here.
We can't see your
okay, so 23 and 32 at the top of this in the middle of the screen.
Yep.
McCourty drops down to Uzama. It looks like Duggar thought McCourty was going to fall back in coverage. Mims wide open over the middle of the field. Zach comes off of him.
I want to see the end zone angle here because in real time, I was like, "Wow, this is a great play by Zach. He didn't force it, and he took it, and he tucked it and ran."
So here's this. He's looking
right at him.
McCourty drops down, and you can see here. McCourty takes his step in. Mims is open right here. Zach's still staring at him.
Mm-hmm.
The way that this safety's position, like Mims is open. Mims is running full speed. This safety is where he is right now. You can see McCourty take a step in, and you're looking at him directly.
And where do you want the ball over the safety's head, right? Not in between those two guys.
No, yeah, it's just a drop in the bucket there, because you'll see right here where he's positioned. He's open.
The ball should be out like now, right?
McCourty
or getting ready to go.
So he's still looking at him. You can see Zach's eyes looking at him.
Yeah, and
he's takes a step in.
And I think this play specifically speaks to the thing where they've probably been coaching him up, like don't throw an interception, tuck it and run, which is what we've been asking for. So I understand where that's tough for Zach, but like you got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. You got to be able to feel the pressure and move out when you need to, and also stand in there and deliver a throw. Is that right?
It was kind of like the Sam thing where like they kind of reeled him in at one point, and after that, it just looked like he was cooked. Didn't want to throw the ball down the field at all.
That's what he looks like. That's how Zach looks now. Like he's afraid to throw.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's a major problem when people are open and you can't hit them.
Yeah, but so, bro, like that's where, of course, I think the primary blame for all of this falls on Zach, no matter what. But that's where, like, and we're not there day to day, so again, it's hard. But like the coaching,
you can only do so.
Yeah, it puts everybody in a tough spot when you can't do it.
You can only do so much for a guy at this level, right? Like you could coach him up all you want, You can look in practice. We saw it with Flacco in the preseason. When the guy's not getting touched and there's no pressure and there's no one that can actually hit you, yeah, you're going to make good throws. That's why all the guys are saying, yeah, Flacco's making a lot of good throws. It's when you get in the games and shit gets ramped up and you're not going against, some guy who can't touch you, you're going against Myles Garrett who wants to take your head off, then, that's when shit happens. And like, there's like, the thing with Zach is that, he probably looks great in 7-on-7 when you can't
when
get
it's
hit.
air.
Exactly. So
That's always been
I just thought this was a good throw by Zach. I mean, again, with the crosswinds he was talking about, this is just a good rep by Elijah to get open in a 2-minute drill. And I think just a really good throw by Zach.
Best throw of the day?
This is I would say so. This is one of the toughest, if not the toughest throw to make in football.
The outside.
Across the hash. Yeah.
So and that's where I get confused, right? Because I feel like his game is so confidence based. And I feel like we know immediately. We know in the first quarter of every game which Zach we're getting.
I know Robbie Savo has brought it up, and he's gotten some criticism for it. And it's something I've been closely watching after he said it. And it very much looks like when Zach's like, completing passes to start it out and getting in some sort of a rhythm, everything's fine. And then there's like a moment where something goes bad and everything goes to shit.
He collapses. Yeah. And I don't know if we're in a position to deal with that. Like, I don't know. Like, it's weird. It's just weird thing where coming into this season, the only thing we cared about was the only thing we cared about was knowing the answer on Zach. Mm-hmm. And we found ourselves in a situation where we're a playoff team, we're a contending team. And this is where Saleh has a really difficult job and has done a really great job, especially this week, of he's serving two masters. He's trying to figure out the answer at quarterback, and he's also trying to make the playoffs because he's a football coach, and that's what you do.
Yeah, they're in a very – obviously you want to be in this type of spot as opposed to the opposite, but they are in a very, very tough position in that, like you said, this season was all about what do we have in two. And realistically, you didn't expect this defense to jump from last in the league to top 3, top 4 in the league, where they're actively shutting teams down and potentially winning you ball games. And we've talked about it before. Is that fair to Zach? Probably not. But this is the NFL, and this is the position that they're in. Now, to only have a guy like Flacco on the bench and a guy like Mike White, hindsight's obviously 2020. But when you have all the eggs in the Zach basket, this is the type of shit you're going to have to deal with. Mm-hmm. Right? Because if he's playing really, really good, we're not talking about Mike White or that they failed to address backup QB in a way.
Not even good. If he's just playing
average. Right?
Average quarterback play, this is not a conversation. And that's the part that's frustrating.
So here's another frustrating play. So you'll see Ty Johnson at the bottom of the screen chipping Judon here. And then it's just a chip and release, right? 3rd and 7 here, third quarter, chip and release. He's got time. I don't know if this is just a half field read. I don't know what these routes, if it's a half field read, why these two routes are this way. You'll see Uzomah on the end zone angle get caught up on a block here, and then looks like he's trying to run a Texas route here.
Also, can I ask you a question? Can you run that play back? Does he have time? Because I feel like by the time he gets out of the drop.
So you'll see Johnson on the right side.
Because look, the right side is.
So so it looks
he's
like
here. He has to be able to make a move.
It looks like there's a half field read to the left side of the field. And, Zama's chipping and then he's releasing as well. But you have to realize, if you're Zach, that like pressure's coming in, your release valve is Ty Johnson there. Now it's 3rd and 7. Is he going to be able to beat Adrian Phillips? I don't know. But you give him a shot. Throw the ball out there, get a running back in space against a safety, and give him a shot. Doesn't even look that way. It looks like he wanted to get Uzomah off the chip against Kyle Duggar, who's a really good safety. So I don't really know what that play was, but it is frustrating to.
And it looks like it's a lot of one. Like he has one option, and if the first option he sees is not open, he's like panicking.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of reminiscent of the, I don't want to bring it up, but like the Sanchez red light, green light, yellow light thing, where what we saw with Mark was that when it's a play action guy coming off of a slant, boom boom, great. And then what he really struggled with for a lot of his career was that when the first read wasn't there and you had to, progress over the field, then that's when problems started setting in.
Mm-hmm. So, this is also a tough game for the offensive line. I will say that. This is not a
New England did a great job. I know people they run the ball more, won the ball more. New England did a great job of clogging up run lanes and really not allowing the Jets to have any holes to get through. I mean, I think there was only a couple rushes where they got maybe 5-6 yards, but they
Yeah.
did a really good job of flowing with the offensive line and flowing with the flow of the play and really limiting the big plays from the
It's
Jets.
crazy. I mean, like, we knew it kind of, right? Like, we knew in real time how important Brees was to the team. It's crazy how much less confidence I have running the ball now. Like, it's just like, no matter what, I'm like, can we get 3 here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, first and 10, can we get 3 on a run? Also, one other thing about this game that we didn't get to talk about yet. Did we run on second down every single play?
It was. You go back and I was watching it today. Which, by the way, they've done a fucking terrible job at doing the all 22 now. It's just one big file. So you have to go back. They used to just have it. You could look at individual plays, all 22.
Oh, okay.
Now it's just one big hour or so long, just reel.
It's just like the game.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So this is the one I think where Garrett got really, really pissed off.
Look how
Which
pissed
in
he
real
is.
time-
Holy
Real
shit.
time, I don't understand why he was mad because like he doesn't really have his guy beat here, and it's you could say that this might be a hospital ball if where it's thrown because he's gonna have to probably throw it out a little bit in front of him, and this corner's kind of peeling off of him. But this throw to Mims is just so fucking bad, like just bad.
To Mims or
Even-
Garrett?
To Mims.
Wait, I thought you said it was to Garrett.
Garrett got mad, but I don't know where Zach's putting this ball to.
Oh,
Garrett.
you don't even know where it's going.
Like,
Yeah,
is
what
it
the
to
fuck
Garrett?
Is
Is
that?
it to Mims? Like, it looks like Mims is running a post and Garrett's running underneath. Like, I don't know where this ball is going, and either way, it's a bad ball to both players.
Run that back at regular speed, yeah.
So, like, if you want to, if you're throwing it to Garrett, that's a major. It's more of an issue than it is if this ball to Mims. Both, like I said, whoever that's going to, that's a terrible throw.
Hideous.
Terrible throw.
Run that back one more time.
First of all, Garrett did have kind of a step on him. Like he would have had to be a perfect throw, but he was in front of him. If he hits him there, it's a first down. I mean,
He's got Bryant on his hip. Bryant's a really good. I think Bryant's. A really
It's a
good
tough play.
Cornerback, but that's a throw where like, look, so if you want to throw it there, it's probably getting deflected. But if you're
The
throwing
pass
it
was
to
definitely
Mims,
the
you're
pass
trying to lead
has
him.
to be the pass has to be to Garrett. It's too low.
I don't know, man. It's just bad. It's bad all
It's just
around.
bad.
Fourth quarter is when shit really got.
I mean, we had 2 fucking yards of offense in the second half. Like, it's crazy.
This one,
guys, real quick, my comparison on Zach right now, and I hate to even say this because you guys are going to say it's outrageous, but I really don't feel like it is and I'll explain why. He's more Christian Hackenberg than he is Mark Sanchez. Like he can't read a defense. He's mobile. He is the most inaccurate quarterback I've seen in a long time. He has an arm, and I sat there at training camp practices when you could see why he got drafted where he got drafted. The guy had a cannon of an arm, and when there was no pressure on him whatsoever, he would sling the ball. But I don't understand like what's going on here. I mean, I'm watching all these clips, and it's like it's legitimately making me mad. I can't watch it.
So this is one. The Patriots do a really good job of just collapsing the pocket from the inside on this one. This is a really good call by the Patriots on their defense. But you'll see the tight ends come free, and this is when Zach's just
dump it to Conklin.
Like I get it's tough. Conklin's not looking at him right now, but this is one where I don't know if it's,
before.
I don't know if it's designed where like Conklin is just supposed to release and it's really not a route. But if this is just like a 4-yard little hitch, then like hit him before he's out of his break. Like
He's looking. No, it has to be a catch. It has to be a route. He's looking.
Like you have to be,
guys,
and
Uzomah
maybe he's still. Yeah,
Uzomah on the other side, he was open too.
Yeah, but that's the opposite of where he's looking. That's his.
Yeah, he's looking on the other side.
I understand.
When that pocket collapses, you're really not looking that way. Conklin's open here. It's just, again, and I could totally be misreading these, but this is just, that's just shit out there where you want to see him at least just dump the ball off. Mm-hmm. But again, like I don't know if that's just a confidence thing because he got burned on it in the first game.
It's really tough. It's got to. Well, I have some thoughts at the end. I honestly feel kind of bad for Zach.
It's shitty, man. All right, this one's infuriating.
Go to the beginning.
So Mims is going to come out.
Why
That
didn't
ball
he
should be
throw
out.
that?
The ball should be out.
What is he afraid of?
Ball should be out right here. You can see he takes an extra hitch. Doesn't throw it.
The first
I don't know. I don't know if he's seeing this linebacker underneath and thinking that he's going to be able to make a big play, which is a fucking terrible observation because there's no way. And if that linebacker turns and jumps and makes an interception,
he's the best linebacker of all time.
There are
tip your
three
cap.
guys wide open. Three wide open.
He's
You
looking.
tip your cap.
I know what you're saying, Jay, but you have to judge it based on which side of the field he's looking at because he can't see the other guys.
Okay, well, there's at least one right there on the sideline. I mean,
Yeah, the
That's
tight
Mims.
end or Mims. Sorry.
So Mims is open right there.
48
And he
has
has
no
a hitch.
chance on this ball.
He has a hitch.
I think
And
he's
then
scared,
eyes
bro.
come-
Like that's
eyes
what
come
it
down.
is.
Well, you can see it right here. Watch.
He felt the rush and pulled back on the throw.
Ball should be out right there. Takes a hitch. Eyes come down. He's not throwing that ball to Mims anymore, even though he's still wide open.
And
Yeah.
if he throws that ball, there's a chance he gets a roughing the passer on that too, because he was coming in with his head down.
You're right. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much of this stuff, man. A lot of it has to be tied to confidence. A lot of it has to be tied to the way they're coaching him. I know how many more you have. I know we have a few more.
I three.
Okay.
So this one was a catch by Garrett Wilson, but it's still frustrating. So I just had to play through, waiting, pumping. Ball's out. I think it's a 6 yard. I think it's still a first down.
Show it one more time.
So Garrett runs a really nice route.
Yeah, he's
It's a
waiting
shitty
a
ball.
long time.
It's a shitty ball. Just a shitty ball. So you'll see
Why is it a shitty ball? Because it's in the ground?
right about here is when that ball should be out. Because you put it, you give him a little space by the sideline. He's already got the corner, or he's already got the defender on his back. This guy is not jumping that route if you're going to throw it over the top a little bit. Garrett's got this guy beat right now. Throw the ball right now, and give him a little bit more. Give him a chance to get the ball off field. He's one of your most dynamic playmakers on the team, and the ball comes out late, and it's a shitty ball, and he's got to dive and catch for it. It's only a 6 yard gain.
I will say this. I brought it up before too. I'm watching all the clips, and you're right. If there's game speed and there's small windows to make plays, and you're gonna have to take hits, and
Some
all
of these
that.
are wide open. You have to hit them.
It's a lot of open stuff, and it's he just looks concerned about the rush. That's bad.
This one, he's got his eyes set on the wheel route the entire time from the time he catches the ball in his hand. Garrett's wide open over the middle.
You see him
You're
on
going
top
against Kyle.
too.
You're
Look
going
at
against Kyle Duggar. That's a very, very good safety who immediately recognizes the play and recognizes that I'm taking this guy out of the backfield.
And look at
Not
Garrett's
once
reaction too.
Yep. Not once does Ty Johnson have a step on this guy. Not once. And you're throwing a go ball, jump ball for your running back up against a really good safety.
Because that's how it's designed, right? It's just throw it to him. He's looking the whole time.
Immediately comes off of Garrett. Immediately. You can see, look at him right there. Immediately comes off.
Why did he do that?
Got very clean pocket. Not an ounce of pressure in his face.
He's got
right
all
now.
day.
Garrett comes wide open underneath.
Garrett might turn that up and score. Show the full angle again. Yeah.
It's a clear out. That's all it is. You got the guy up top. I think that's Elijah. I can't tell.
It's Elijah.
Yeah, so Elijah clears out that side of the field. It's a play action. You get a wheel route. Garrett comes over on a deep over. And he's got the whole side of the field to work with. And he comes off of it way too quick. I think this is the last one, and this is probably this is the worst one. One of the worst ones. They're all bad. I put it in. Can you pull it up?
Sorry.
So this is the 3rd and 1. And
3rd and 1 when?
This is the 3rd and 1.
Okay.
End of the game. 4th quarter. This is the play right before the punt. It's bad. We've all seen it. The thing that troubles me the most is watch how fast Zach goes from his left to right. Doesn't even see Elijah.
Dude, he has so much time.
Doesn't even see Elijah. So you can see Elijah's here. Elijah's running that drag over the middle. I think that's Mims in the middle of the field.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a window too.
Where, yeah, if you're gonna have to hold on and catch that, but that's a throw you should be able to make. He's Carter. If you're gonna throw this to Carter, you throw it to him now, right? If you're gonna go that fast, you throw it to him quicker.
And the pass sucked.
Pass is terrible. But the most troubling thing was how quickly he went through and didn't even see Elijah. Like, there was no thought of throwing this ball to Elijah, and Elijah's wide open.
Can you show me the full angle one more time? I'll pull it back up.
Yeah.
Because now I'm really just reading. I'm reading the reactions a lot as well.
It's 1 yard, by the way. You have to get 1 yard. You lose 2.
Yeah, I also
Biggest
felt
play of
like
the
in that spot they should have been running the ball. I don't know if
They
that's
couldn't run.
crazy.
They couldn't run the ball all day.
But you can't get a yard. I mean, yeah,
And
it's
I
just
did
tough.
have one more.
Okay.
This was the Carl Lawson thing, and I kind of got why he didn't dive for it more.
Oh yeah, I was
watched it
so
back.
mad at this play.
He kills DJ Reed if he dives for this. Kills him. You'll see. DJ's already in like mid dive.
Who blew that play up?
See, DJ's mid dive. Carl's not getting it from where he was. He kills DJ if he dives there.
Yeah, but doesn't everybody jump on piles? Like, I don't know. I feel like that's not a good excuse.
He kills him. He kills him, and that's one of those where, like, what if it deflects off of them and they get it and they score for a touchdown? That's just the way I read it. Look bad in the moment, but I could get not wanting to kill your teammate over that. But yeah, those are the clips some of them. I mean, you'll see everyone has a bunch of them online already, anyways. But it's just a lot of missed open throws, and then when guys are open, it's just too late. And I get it; it's only 20 games into his career. You know, you can use the wind excuse, but then why is Mac Jones being able to hit these throws over the middle of the field?
23 of 27.
Perfectly fine. And, you know, if we do want to criticize LaFleur, I do think it's, you know, if you want to get Zach in the rhythm, it's got to be shit that's not swing passes or screen passes. Because they don't work. They're not working, right? The Jets have loved to do this thing ever since I've been alive, where they throw a screen pass to a guy to one side of the field with nobody blocking for him, and try to figure it out. You know, it's like 1-on-4. They throw the screen pass, and then they wonder why it doesn't work. You can't keep throwing this shit behind the line of scrimmage and expect him to get in a rhythm. Also, why are you not putting your running backs in advantageous situations against linebackers? You see, New England killed us. New England kills everybody by putting Ramondre out there, getting them in, you know, getting up on the linebacker's toes and then cutting in or out. Like, it's just that simple type of shit.
Chargers do it a lot too with Eckler.
They're going to be open, and the Jets just don't do that. It's, you know, it's just a flat route, or they run a swing pass, or it's a screenplay, or it just doesn't work. Like, there's, as we've seen, right? Like, people are getting open. The QB's not hitting them, but you also have to do some more stuff, I think, to get some of the backs involved, get some of the tight ends involved.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't even show the top. Oh, this one was very bad. I can't believe I didn't even show this one. That's
right.
on me. Where is it?
So just confirming, Jay still making me bust. Oh, he's back.
I'm here. I'm eating.
Okay, go back. Go.
Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. I forgot to put it in the folder.
These
So this is
videos
the
are
Conklin
very
play.
troubling, though. It was not a fun meal that I'm eating here right now.
So this is the Conklin play. I think it's a really good play design. You see at the top, Mims is wide open for a big gain if he looks that way. I'll run it back. You'll see Mims at the top. It's a good play design. Mims beats his guy.
Oh, he killed him.
Killed him. So you'll see here, they motion Mims in, get him stacked with Conklin. Conklin wins his route immediately. Wins his route. Zach's waiting for him to clear. He clears and just fucking airmails it.
Is that because he feels like he feels like he doesn't have room to step up and deliver a throw, or is that just a bad habit?
It's just a bad habit. I mean, there's no look. There's on this play, the pocket's collapsing. You probably can't step up too much, but there's no reason this ball should be 15 yards over his head. There's no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it is. And we saw Mims being wide open up top. This is a good play design.
McCourty's stunned that the ball's in his hands.
Can't believe it. Two guys win their routes, and you can't hit either of them.
Yeah.
It's just bad, man. It's frustrating. You're missing easy throws. You're not taking the throws that are there. You're taking too long to get to the throws that are there. And, I would love to have someone who's played quarterback just to come on and just kind of walk us through, because they'd be able to better tell you what the progression is and what he's supposed to do. Is he supposed to read high to low or shit like that? That's the type of shit that they'll be able to tell you. But I mean, just you don't have to be a wizard to know that, to see that he's just missing a lot of easy throws. It's frustrating.
Kurt Warner did a full breakdown just like you did today. I don't know if you saw that on his Twitter, but it's
an hour. There's a YouTube video. Yeah, I'm locking in tonight.
Yeah. It's just bad, man. It's just bad.
Yeah, it's bad, and it's. I think for me, it boils down to confidence and habits, because I feel like he does not want to stand in there and take a hit at all. You could see, and that goes into what Judon was saying, is that when there's pressure, his eyes come down. He's also not the type of guy, from what we've seen, that can stand in there and take a lick. I've never seen it. I don't think I've ever seen, and I might be completely wrong about this, I've never seen him take a lick and deliver a good throw.
No, and that's sometimes you just have to nut up and take it.
That's the NFL.
It's either this is an incomplete pass, or we get a 15-yard completion. But I know I'm going to get hit. This ball needs to come out. Get it out, and let's, I think guys would respect you more if you did that shit. I get the whole thing. If you want to run more, you want to run more, blah, 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 blah. But sometimes you have to put your dick on the table and say, I'm going to make this throw. I don't care if I'm going to get crushed by this.
Mm-hmm.
Have to.
Yeah, and I think that goes into a lot of the post-game reaction from a lot of people talking about how he was he grew up rich and blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is kind of bullshit to me.
That could be open up for interpretation. All I know is in that moment, I don't care what your background is as a quarterback.
Yeah.
It's been talked about, beaten to death over the past 48 hours. You have to say yes. You just say yes. Even if you don't believe it, say yes. It starts with me. I have to be, accountable. I'm the leader, blah, 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 blah. It's very simple. Very simple.
Yeah. And to me, this is speculation. This is me reading tea leaves. This is me reacting to what I'm seeing on the screen. It's really tough when things aren't going well and it's not the perfect climate, temperature in the room, energy, vibe after the game. If everything's not perfect, he kind of tends to not seem that great. And that's a problem.
Yeah. It's the NFL, man. It's shit's not going to go your way 90% of the time. You have to take the, that Mims play, that Mims touchdown play where he's open over the middle. You do not get those many opportunities against Belichick. I know you can say whatever you want about Belichick, but they do not make a lot of mental mistakes. You have to take advantage of those things when they're there.
Yeah, and on the Mims part, he had a tough drop, whatever. You got to be able to move past all that stuff. That's not an excuse for.
Bro, you're not Tom Brady, right? You should not be being, Mims dropped that. I'm not going back his way. You have not earned that right. You haven't.
It's not even about earning the right. It's just you don't.
And you can see why kind of guys get frustrated. You kind of put some things together. Now, is that true? Maybe. Who knows?
That's
But
the speculation part. That's the we don't know
Yeah.
what the hell we're talking about part. But like, there's just a lot of weird energy. And so let's get past all that. Let's wrap things up a little bit here. I don't want to go on forever, even though we were joking about it.
Wait, you wanna do it for-
Yeah. Do you have
Can we break
any
can we
Patriots
break down
highlights to
the-
play, or what do you think?
Can we break down the 7 penalty punt?
That was crazy. But
I told my dad, I was like, I want to see how far we can take this thing.
if they would have kept going back and forth, it would have been awesome. And there was almost another one. It almost happened again later in the game. It was hilarious.
Just 4 penalties on a punt.
Honestly, shout out to Braden, man. Like, that's not easy. Like, going out there and putting up 3 punts, like, back to back to back. That's tough.
Yeah.
Good punts. They're all good punts. I think the middle one was bad, but the first and the third one were pretty good. It was tough. This takes us to Salah on Monday, and the beat was doing their thing where they, they circle them, and it's like sharks, and like everybody wants to get their takeoff. Everybody has their rant they want to unload on everybody, and people think they're much more important than they actually are. Salah steps to the podium and says pretty much exactly
after an hour and 15-minute delay.
All-time move, Robert Salah, legend. He said it was coaching stuff and there was like some personal issues. If that's true, I completely understand. It makes a lot of sense. I hope it was just a petty making him wait it out. That's awesome.
Him and Joe Douglas were just like shooting papers into a trash can.
They're
like
playing pinball
for an hour. Douglas has like one of those hoops you could hook up to the back of your door, and him and those were just seeing who could like first one to 3, and it took him an hour and 15 minutes.
They're reviewing every single player for the game, and it's just a still shot on a piece of paper. When they finish it, they just crumble it up and shoot the ball, and that's what took 2 hours.
The Belichick way, where he's got the all 22 shit just in like a little
binder. Yeah.
This might work. Nope.
Salah came out, said all the right things, and continued to defend Zach, which I was excited about. I think it's very easy for a coach in that scenario just to say, like, we're looking at everything. We'll see how it is. He said that in the moment, went on radio on, I think it was Michael Kay, and was pretty defended Zach pretty hard. And to Zach's credit, or not to Zach's credit, but to cut Zach a little bit of slack, like, there's that moment in the press conference with Connor Hughes where he says no. I think like literally 3 minutes later, he was talking to like one of the ESPN radio guys and did take accountability in the moment. But Salah's just got it. It just feels like they have it really figured out, and it's going to be rocky and it's going to be tough. But I'm at this point now with Salah and Joe where I'm just blindly trusting them. Like, they know better than us. They know what's going on. They know how to handle all these guys.
Like our friend Connor Rogers says, they finally have adults in the room. They finally have guys who know what they're doing. I mean, Salah, it's tough to do as well in that type of situation as Salah did the other day. I mean, he left nothing up for interpretation, answered every single question you wanted an answer for, and like you said, he's not going to throw the QB under the bus. It's so easy for guys in that situation, for anybody. When everyone's piling on. I don't care what profession you're in, to pile on in that exact moment. But Salah's just not that type of guy. He wants to lift you up. He wants to, look, we're going to go back to work. We're going to keep doing this thing. And I think too, the fans have just been, and I get it, right? I understand. It's frustrating. This team is in a spot I don't think any of us thought they'd be in at this point of the year. And the guy you just drafted second overall, his 20th game in, looks very clearly like not the guy. But I mean, for me, it's like, just go outside, right? Like, you don't need to look at every Jets QB stat compared to all the bad ones or all the bad QB ones. Like, just take a deep breath.
Yeah, the fan reaction is going to be what it's going to be. I think,
and I understand it, but like, you don't need to retweet the 40th, tweet about Zach's bad percentages. All right.
Yeah,
nothing's changed in the last 2 days.
Totally. I'm not going to go after people for that because I'm the person who sends 150 texts after a game like that and is just depressed and wants to look at every single thing. But I will say that, number one, fans are making it hot for the players. Like, if people are going to like tweets, like, we should just let them like the tweets and move on. Like, we don't need to blow that up. We don't need to make problems. Trust tree. If it was up to me, trust tree, let people deal with their shit personally. And then also, it's going to be tough for Saleh because this is an interesting game, and part of me wants them. You think they'll start Zach? Let's go there.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Zach will be the start as well. Jay, I think also thinks Zach will be the start. I don't know how he feels about it, but I think we all agree that it'll be Zach to start.
Because, and it's been pointed out that like he's only 2 really bad games against this year, and been against New England. So maybe it's just New England has his number thing. Look, I'm playing devil's advocate here, right?
Playing devil's advocate. Outside of like 3 plays, he's been
I'm just saying,
bottom of the league every single week. We just mask it with great. I understand. We just mask it with great defense,
right?
And
they're playing a bad Chicago defense. Now, is that just like the
Bears stink? They stink.
It could lead to a situation where it's like, oh, Zach's back, right? Like it's just a week-to-week roller coaster. But I do think they'll start Zach. Hopefully they have the short leash on him this week. I think they do. I think that's pretty clear because we've been praising Saleh all this time, but the frustrating part was, okay, you're calling Mike White up to see what he has and see what you have in him. Your offense is stalled for 3 quarters. Just throw him in.
I'm okay with them riding with him until the end of the game. I've thought about it long and hard.
I was too, but then it just does. Some things just don't make sense when you call a guy up and things are just stagnant. Like I don't know. It's not. You're not going to be killed because
I'm not even worried about getting killed. I'm not even worried about getting killed, man. It just goes back to what I said. Like I just feel like he has a better pulse on the situation than I do.
Well, yeah. I mean, I trust that guy. I think that guy could lead my life into better situations without knowing anything about my life.
Absolutely. That's why I say you don't know what's up with Zach. Like we both agree that he's a very confidence-driven kid. Like pulling him out of the game in that spot is like really tough. So I'm okay with them riding with him. And it was also obvious what they were trying to do, right? Like it was like first one to make a mistake, first one to make a defensive play or a special teams play is going to win the game. And that's what ended up happening. Both coaches were thinking the exact same thing the entire time.
Yeah. It was kind of wild that like the Patriots pretty much moved the ball in between the 20s, and then
it was wild.
Like they were just in the tackling. I almost broke my TV in half when Ramondre got the 3rd and 16 and broke like 4 different tackles, and they had him.
Yeah, Quan was the first one. Quan missed a tackle, and I lost my mind. Was it Quincy? Yeah,
I love Quincy to death, but you put that guy in space, and that guy's getting broke. Everything.
He needs to improve on it for sure, because
that's a tough tackle. It's tough to make an unskilled tackle.
Ramondre Stevenson's is like one of the best running backs in the NFL this year. So
he's very good.
Yeah,
one of my guys too.
Of course, Patriot.
No, that was one of my first running back scouts.
Yeah, right. But now he's a Patriot, so he's your guy.
Michael Carter's one of my guys.
I completely understand. Well,
Tom Brady was one of my guys too. Way back in 2000.
We did lose Jay, unfortunately, but listen, it's been a tough week.
Yeah,
I think we're both looking to see Zach get out there and let it rip. No more kid gloves. No more trying to protect him. Let your receivers, who we all agree are really, really good receivers. Garrett Wilson is a legitimate wide receiver 1 in the NFL. Elijah Moore is a really good wide receiver. Maybe we'll get Corey Davis back.
Denzel Mims got put in the Shanny doghouse and came out the other side. I love it.
We got these guys who are really talented, and I think if the idea is pressure on, go be who you are, go be the quarterback we want you to be, you can't go to try to protect him against a really bad defense. They got to be able to let it rip on offense. Motion, get Garrett out in space, get Elijah out in space, get Braxton. I don't care. Like, let Zach run around, a lot of bootlegs.
If we do motion, I don't need Garrett running 45 yards behind the line of scrimmage before the play starts.
What do they call that? It's called an orbit motion.
Orbit.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I don't get the point of that. What is that supposed to do?
It's supposed to make the defense move, right? And then you kind of flow with it, and then you're supposed to get like a mismatch and an advantage to other side of the field or something like that.
But don't we do it the exact same way every single time?
Every single time. And then it's like, oh, we're going to put Braxton Berrios in. Wonder what's going to happen here.
Well, that's on the left, but
yeah, it's just so stupid.
Yeah.
He MLS has been doing this. Like it's for the past 2 years too, where like they'll have like a sick drive. It's like, all right, This is awesome. And then it's like, oh, we're gonna run a double reverse to, Connor McDermott. And
Yeah, I feel
see
like
what
he gets too spicy and like pulls out these random plays that make no sense.
In.
Yeah, like lock it in. We got to figure it out right now. Like we're doing really great. We had 4 completions in a row. Let's not do anything crazy.
Yeah, Zach's driving, and they're gonna pull out the double reverse.
I wonder. So like, whatever. I don't want to keep going on it, but they got to let him open it up and perform this week.
That's and like Daniel Jeremiah had a really good tweet, and the tweet before it was
don't bang on the table.
Good. But he so he was going back and forth with Richard Sherman, but he was just like, Zach's had 2 really bad games against Bill Belichick. I want to see a game where they open it up and they like we've been saying, they open it up, take the training wheels off, let it fly, and then you can get a real evaluation of who this guy is. If you're just gonna keep doing the same shit that they've been doing and it's not gonna keep working, okay, what do you expect? Like we need an answer somehow.
And that's the kid glove and the coddling that will not be happening anymore. I think that's very clear.
Hope not.
I hope not as well. Do you want to do a final score prediction?
No.
Okay, I will. I think it's going to be the Jets are 4.5-point favorites for the first time, and I want to say like my life.
It was like 6, I think, initially.
That's too many points. I also think they're worried about Fields a little bit, whether he's going to play or not.
That guy could play, or his career could be over. According to that one.
How do you say that guy's name? Eberflus? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Said he was day to day, or he might need surgery and his season's over. How is that possible? That's like the Jamar Chase thing where they're like, we're going to put him on IR, but his bones heal faster. It's like, what are you talking about?
He's got the Russell Wilson concussion water.
There's a couple things like that happen every week in the NFL that I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Just football guys.
There's doctors who just have these weird theories on how people can just heal faster.
Tyrod Taylor got impaled in the heart with a needle, and now Justin Herbert's there.
Right. Like, that's enough not to laugh about that, but like that's crazy.
It's just wild shit and it's like, all right, next, like legitimately next man up. It's like we keep saying, it's very tough to play this game. Like you just watch this guy like leg snap in half, and you're like, all right, hey, get out there, you're in.
Yeah, it's tough. All right, so I'll go. I'm gonna go 24.
Jesus.
20 Jets.
I'm gonna go 16-9.
I think Zach gets pulled after the first half.
I'm gonna go 16-9. Jets.
Do you think Zach survives the game?
No.
Man.
Nope. Which sucks.
All right.
Because you just we already talked about it at length.
Yeah.
It's just a shitty situation no matter what happens. The only
situation.
The only good thing that come out of it is Zach plays well, like really well, like not like 14 of 22 for 110 yards. Well,
yeah, and if that does happen, I think we're both gonna need to come on here and remain calm because I'm not gonna get tricked again. I've been tricked too many times this season. I will not be tricked again. This is a week-to-week situation the rest of the way, and based on where we are right now, we will be getting a new quarterback next year. So. I'm going to act accordingly to that.
Lock it in.
So with that was just enough to suffer. Episode 13.
Long one.
It was decently long. And like Jay said before we jumped on, like if you want to talk about a game where this podcast is named after, it was that one. So hopefully next week's a little bit easier.
From the start being delayed to the shitty camera angles to start, no real audio of the crowd. It was bad.
I kind of liked it in the beginning. It was very old school. It was like, I thought it was great. It was like watching a high school game on YouTube. It was awesome.
My brain hurt so bad.
I loved it. I loved it. I'll be there Sunday. Greg will not. We'll try to get a pod up Sunday after the game. But with that, if you've made it this far, please please subscribe. We've been gaining subscribers little by little every week, which I appreciate. We'll keep rocking. We'll try to do more clips. We'll put up a couple shorts maybe this week if Jay can get to it. And that's it. Greg, anything else?
Everyone have a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah, it's Thanksgiving. Yeah, if you celebrate.
I know some people don't celebrate Thanksgiving.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah, it's like the Christmas thing.
Yeah, I get it. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Hope everyone has a good Sunday, good weekend, all that. Enjoy your family. Enjoy everything. And we'll see you next time. Peace and love.